Okay, hi, I'm back to talk about step 7. It's been a while since my last video, but coronavirus still running around, a little bit distracted. But I would like to talk about step 7. We're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character, which we had become willing to have him remove in step 6. And after seeing the effects of the defects of character in step 5, reading them out loud, writing them down in step 4, and seeing how these things have such a deep, deep effect on my life in ways that I never understood before until I put pen to paper. So now I can see that the effect that they have and the destruction that they wreak on my life, I'm ready to ask God to take them. And they're not going to be taken all at once. They're not going to all be taken, but God will do the removing, not me. This is spiritual surgery, as it were. And we're asking God to take these defects of character the way he wants to take them, not the way I think they should be removed. I don't have anything to do with it except being willing to offer them to God and asking him to take them. All right, so here we go, talking about God again. If you have a problem with that, refer back to step 3, because I call it God and I call higher power, whatever you want to call it, I don't care, but I know that I can't do this. I can't do this on my own. I didn't recover on my own. I cannot heal a sick mind with a sick mind, and my sick mind is what got me here in the first place. Go back to step 1 and 2. Whatever it is that I'm dealing with, I was powerless over it. My life became unmanageable, and I became insane around it because I kept trying to do it over and over, expecting it to be different. It didn't work. And so here we are with this list, and I will put, if I didn't already, again, a PDF with the characteristics of God and my defects of character, and the opposite of them is the characteristics of God. So we're not going to just ask them to be removed, but we're going to ask them to be replaced with God's characteristic. Nature abhors a vacuum, so you don't want to just get rid of them and then try to fill it in with something on my own. Probably wouldn't be very successful anyway. So I'm going to ask God to remove them. Now, I think that the problem here is that we, as people who are pretty spiritual in a lot of ways, the addictive personality types especially, got sidetracked and went off on this tangent with other substances. And it could be alcohol, it could be drugs, it could be shopping, money, eating, all sorts of things that we've talked about all through these steps. And I went looking for that and found, oftentimes, which is why I kept going, instant gratification. With the spiritual life and the search for a power greater than myself, this is a slow, steady climb. It talks about in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous about trudging the road of happy destiny, and trudging is just a slow, steady pace. And that's what this has been. My relationship with God grows over time, and that's what this is all about. That's what these steps are designed for, is to bring us into some kind of a relationship with a power greater than ourselves that could restore us to sanity. And so far, so good. If you've been coming along and working these steps, you've seen that this stuff really does work. And it just keeps getting better and better. And by now, after step 5, into step 6, and now into step 7, you really start to feel a lightness, and you really start to feel hope, probably that you haven't felt in a long time if you've really been plagued by something, as I said in the introduction video. And so now we're going to ask God to remove these defects of character. And so one of the things that I like to do, and one of the things that I have people do that work with me, is to get index cards and to write down a defect of character on one side of the card, and then maybe a short little definition, and then also just a short little example of how it showed up in my life. Just go back and look at step 4, step 1, 2, and 3 too. Also, you can find them, and then on the other side, write the opposite of the defect by putting the characteristic of God. So if it's fear, you can put faith on the other side, and if it's dishonesty, you can put honesty on the other side. And so these are ways that I can remember what it is that I'm working on. And then sometimes I take one card and I put it in the car. I put it in my wallet. I put one up on the mirror or up on top of my dresser or something, and just sort of carry it around and work on one at a time. And this is going to be a process because they don't go away and stay away. They creep back in. But my awarenesses are what makes the difference here. Because once I'm aware of them and I can see how they affect my life and I ask God to remove them, I can watch for them. And now I can start to do things like backing off of a text, or deleting a sentence in an email, or stopping a conversation mid-sentence, and stopping myself before I get back into that experience of that character defect, trying to control somebody, or trying to argue with somebody about something, being sarcastic, being gossipy. It's a blessing to be able to stop mid-sentence. So I don't have to get back into that, and I don't have to go back and repeat the same things that I saw coming up on my fourth step. Now that I have these 3 A's, awareness, acceptance, and action. I've had the awarenesses. I've come to the place of acceptance, typically in step 5 when I'm reading these things out loud, and I realize I'm just making bad choices, and typically, I'm a kind of a sick person making bad choices. It's not that I'm a bad person. I meant well. I just got off the track somewhere. So now I'm asking God to help me to get back on the beam and to keep going. And the reason that I do this work, and the reason that these steps are designed as a program of living, as a design for living, is not so that I can just take it easy and, as I say, sit on the couch and eat bonbons. It's so that I can become the best person that I can become, and offer myself to God in that 3rd step prayer. Offer myself to be available to God in His service, to help someone else. And if that's something that I can do, then I need to be in the best place that I can be. So I have a responsibility, especially when I've been given the gift of recovery for whatever part of my life that I'm trying to recover from. And I'll tell you, I really think this coronavirus has been a blessing, a great difficulty for a lot of people, but it's been a blessing for a lot of people to be able to slow down and take a look and see, is there something that I can change? Because, there's a friend of mine that had an email with a tagline on it, and it said, in the process of going back to what was normal, be sure that what you're going back to was worth going back to. We get to take a time out and to take a look and see what was working and what wasn't, as we were barreling forward without any signs of slowing down. This is a good opportunity to be able to say, can I make some changes, and can they be lasting? Yes, they can be lasting, but in my estimation, it is not possible without God's help. So this is step 7, and this is an ongoing step. But it's a good way to do it is with the cards. It's very helpful. And I have a couple of girls that I work with, and they decorate the cards, highlighters, they make fancy writing and stuff like that. And so that it looks attractive, to change these defects. I don't want to keep doing this, you guys. So that's it. And then we're going to go on to step 8. I hope that this is helpful. Step 6 and 7, man, this is the meat and potatoes, as my friend Joe says. This is the meat and potatoes of this program. This is where we've been doing all the work to identify the defects, and then we're going to ask God to become willing to let go of them once we realize how detrimental they can be, and even dangerous and deadly. And then we're going to ask God to remove them, spiritual surgery. So we are so happy that you're doing this with us, because there's a lot of us that are working on these steps together. And I'm hoping that the videos are helpful. Sorry it took so long to get to step 7. I got to keep ahead of some of these girls that I'm working with. So I'm going to head up with step 8 pretty quickly. And don't be afraid, because I know these steps 8 and 9 are detrimental. No, not detrimental. Are something that deter a lot of people from moving forward. But I'm telling you, you guys, this work is just, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable what happens, what comes out of this stuff. So it's life-changing. And that's why I love to do it, because there's nothing like watching people's lives change. And I can see it in their eyes. I can see it in their face. There's this lightness that happens, and they just have this look in their eyes that is, a light comes on and a hope returns, that no matter how bad it seems, it can get better. So I'm glad you're here. Thank you very much. Sorry about this. I'm going to get taken care of as soon as I can, and I hope that you're having a great step 7 experience. All right, bye.